The average home has over 300,000 items, and if you are thinking about getting your home ready to sell, the thought of decluttering and moving all of those items can be overwhelming and super stressful. A lot of home sellers use their move as an opportunity to purge, but have no idea where to start. And the longer you've been in your home, the more daunting the process is. The good news is that there are a few strategies you can use to ease the pain of the process, but it's important to know, why do you want to declutter in the first place? According to the National Association of Realtors, staged homes sell 73% faster than non-staged homes. So that means that going through the process of decluttering and staging will put more money in your pocket. So a home buyer walking into a home that has been decluttered, that has been staged, comes into it with a little bit different mindset. A home that is full of clutter, that has a lot of personal items, that has not been staged, those buyers tend to look a little bit more. They have to work a little bit harder to see past those items to get a good idea on the house. And often what happens with those buyers is they start seeing other issues. Compared to a home that has been decluttered and staged, those home buyers are going to have a little bit less anxiety with making a little bit higher offer because they're not wondering about the items that they can't see. And then on the home selling side, you're getting a jump on your packing. If you're moving, you have to pack anyways, so you might as well pack before the house goes on the market. It will make the moving process far easier when you do get a buyer. Time and time again, I see home sellers underestimating how much stuff they actually have. And when you have a home buyer and you have a closing date set, you have a deadline where you need to be out of the house, if you don't have a jump on your packing, that stress level just went from a 2 to a 10. And that's something that can be avoided with some proper planning and preparation. So now you know why you need to declutter. So the first step is to create a decluttering plan. So the first thing you want to do is you want to create a realistic time frame. And even though you may have a flexible time frame on when the house goes on the market, having that pressure point will absolutely make it easier for you to move through the process. Now you want to go through the house and you want to assess each room separately. And you want to prioritize based on what the buyer's going to see. So your high impact areas are going to be your entryways, your living room, your kitchen areas, and then you can move on to the bedroom and the basement. And as you go through these areas, I want you to make a list of all the things that you need to make a decision on. Now you want to write down as much as you possibly can. Making a list so you have a visual of everything that you're going to need to make a decision on is absolutely going to help you with the next steps. And then after you've gone room to room and you have decided what items need to be dealt with, whether it be furniture, whether it be knickknacks, pictures, whatever needs to be dealt with, you have all those items written down. Now it becomes a project that you can actually tackle. To try to think about decluttering as a whole and try to work it out in your mind and try to wrap your mind around it, it is just can be an enormous project. But if you get it down on paper and then you segment that into rooms, now it becomes a project that you can chunk down and say, okay, I'm going to do the living room on Saturday, period. That's all I'm going to do. And maybe I'll do the kitchen next Saturday, or I'll do the front entryway on Tuesday. We have that segmented down. Now it's something that you can actually tackle. Now, as you're making this list, you're going to be putting these items into 4 categories: keep, sell, trash, and donate. Now, as you're going through this process in prepping your home for sale, it is super helpful to have a great real estate agent that you can bounce ideas off of and get feedback on what should stay and what shouldn't stay when you're showing the home. I have built relationships with thousands of great agents across the country. If you need a great local agent in your area, click the link in the description below, fill out the short form. I'll get back to you. We'll have a quick conversation so I can find out exactly what your needs are and then connect you with the right agent, the best agent in your local area. So the third step is going to be sorting. Now you will likely find this part of the process the most challenging. And what you need to do is you need to balance the practical with the emotional. Now I know that there may be a lot of sentimental items. There may be some family heirlooms. There may be things that you just don't want to part with. A rule that I use very often in my own house is the 12 to 18 month rule. Now, this is not going to apply to heirlooms and things of high sentimental value, but it more applies to the things that really do take up most of the clutter in our lives. Things that you maybe had the intention of using, but never used it. Or something that has maybe been passed down in your family that really doesn't have any value, but you're holding on to it for the just in case someday. I will ask myself, if for some reason I need this in the future, is it something I can buy again? And if the answer is yes, Then I make the decision, do I sell it, trash it, or donate it? You might be surprised at the emotional benefit of letting these items go. But once the decision is made and you let the items go, it can be very freeing, not only from a visual perspective, but from an emotional perspective. The important thing is to push through. You need to make a decision. You have one room, you have your time frame, you have your pressure point. Push yourself to make that decision into which category those items go into. Now, when it comes to selling and donating strategies, there are some great options. When it comes to selling and donating items, I typically recommend Facebook Marketplace. One of the reasons is because you can actually see the profile of the person that you're dealing with. Now, there are drawbacks. You will be overwhelmed with the number of responses that come in, and there are some strategies on how to deal with that. Typically on a donate item, I will put it out on the curb and I will post it. The first one who shows up gets it. End of story. And you might have some people that complain. It is what it is. But that way, you don't have to interact with the person. You don't have to be home. You don't have to even deal with it. You put it out there. When it's gone, and that's the end of the story. You pull the listing off of Facebook. Now, when it comes to selling, it is more involved. The nice thing about Facebook Marketplace is you can look at the profiles to kind of vet people out a little bit prior to meeting them in person. But there is going to be a fair amount of back and forth, vetting out all the people that ask and inquire, because not all of them will actually be legitimately interested in the item. And sometimes you might decide instead of selling, it is just easier to donate it. Now, when it comes to donating, other than Facebook Marketplace, there are a ton of great resources to donate items to. Savers, Big Brother, Big Sister, Salvation Army, Habitat for Humanity, these are just a few. Habitat for Humanity actually has a reuse store. You want to check to see if you have one in your local area. And they'll accept furniture and bed frames. If you've had a remodel and you have old cabinets or countertops that you want to get rid of, or sinks or light fixtures, they will take all of that. They sell it, and then they take the proceeds and donate it back to Habitat for Humanity. And then lastly, dealing with disposing of all the unwanted items. I would reach out to the local community to see what they have for recycling options. Oftentimes they'll have special collections for computers or air conditioners, things that are hard to dispose of. And then with getting rid of the rest of the items, there are a lot of different options and avenues. You could get a small dumpster, put that right in your driveway, but there are also removal services, junk removal services. You can reach out to TaskRabbit, which is another great resource. Try to find someone if you need help moving some of these items. And some communities offer extensive curbside service. I know in our community, we had a curbside company that would actually come for a small fee and take away larger items that are hard to dispose of. Now, this process will take time, and depending on what your time frame is, you may not get to the whole house before you need to go to market. That's why you want to start with the areas that impact the buyer the most at the very beginning. And ultimately, you may have to just pack everything and then continue the process in the new house. Now, as you're decluttering and you're taking things out, you may discover some repairs that need to be made along the way. I would urge you to check out this video about repairs that will actually improve your property value. I'm Jen Sylvester, and I'm here to help you be a savvy home seller.